I mean, I always grow way too many. I do sell a few.
Film, we're taking some of the big pieces down, but
So it's a lovely sunny day. I mean, I've still got work to do in the garden and just finishing off things in the nursery. But I've decided today's the day to sow my chili peppers. I normally sow them in February because they take quite a long time to mature. They need a long season, which also means I need to keep them warm in the polytunnel. But now I've got my new little propagator. That should help. I grow loads of different varieties. This isn't all of them here. I grow cayenne because I like hot chilies. Some little yellow, orangey yellow pepper juice. They're good for stuffing. Piedmont d'Espelette. It's a big, mild, smoky chili that comes from the south of France. It's actually coif d'Elvec, which means bishop's hairdo. They've got a funny shape, a bit like not like a Turk's turban squash, but similar. They're quite nice for drying. They're very decorative and also quite a thick flesh, so they're good for roasting and making sauce out of. Shashito, that's it's a mild, sort of a cross between a pepper and a chili. Use it a bit like a padron pepper, so for tapas. Big, long, curly red. They're decorative, useful for all sorts of things. Padron pepper for tapas, jalapeno for pickling, going on pizzas and things. And then Peter is actually short for Peter penis. And the reason it's called that is because it's kind of stubby and wrinkly and got a funny looking shape. And you could think it looks a bit like one of them. So anyway, I've got a 6-pack here. I probably need to prepare another one because I think there's 9 different varieties there, and I filled it and leveled out the compost. It's really important. The compost is not too compact, but it's level so that all the seeds are buried at the same depth, so they germinate at the same time. And we've got some nice warm days ahead, so I'm hoping that'll help the germination process. It's a bit too early for tomatoes and cucumbers because they can't be planted out until May and they grow much more quickly. But I have got a few perennials. I've got some trays prepared here. I've got some perennials to start to increase the variety of different things we can sell in the nursery. But I'll look at them in a minute. So I'll start with jalapeno. Put the label in first because all these seeds look really similar and it's ever so easy to muddle them up. I've saved my seeds every year myself from my own chilies that I grow. Reason for that is that they need to be as fresh as possible and they don't store for a long time very well. There's a danger that they might have cross-pollinated because I have so many different varieties growing together, but I generally find they come true to type. And I mean, I always grow way too many. I do sell a few at the nursery, but I'm spacing them out so that each seedling's got enough space for its roots to get established before I prick them out into individual pots. So that's good. That's jalapeno, there's plenty. Oops. We'll go for cayenne next. So I've got 6 varieties in there, and I'm going to cover them with vermiculite because it lets the light through, which some seeds need for germination. But it keeps them damp. It stops them drying out on the surface, and they can push through it quite easily because it's very lightweight. So then I'll just water them in. Uh-oh, here comes trouble. Hello, Mr. Whitey. So I'll water them in well. I don't know if you can see them behind the cat, but and then I'll be putting them in my propagator. Oh, mister. All the seeds I've sown today are all now in my little propagator. This has got some, I don't know if you can see them, little LED lights that help to keep it warm, and when they're germinated it will give them a bit more light of the right wavelengths that they need for good development. I've sort of sown some of my perennials into these mixed trays. The downside of that is that they might germinate at different times, but they're so much easier to handle than individual pots, really. They probably take 2 to 3 weeks to germinate, so we'll keep our eye on these. In my other propagator, yeah, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I've got a load of cuttings that I did in the autumn and some that I did more recently. There's some seeds at the back that I sowed in the autumn that needed to kind of overwinter before germinating. Got some cowslips just germinating there. Some baptisia. Some things I save the seeds of myself, and some of them I buy in if I want to try and get some new varieties. But they're all looking good, and obviously some of them ready to pot on. So we've had 2, 3, 4 days maybe now of sunshine, and everywhere's drying up quite nicely. In fact, the forecast for the next fortnight is now looking really good. So we're going to go for it and open on the first Saturday in March, which I think is the 6th or 7th, as we had originally planned. Trouble is, I've not been able to get on top of everywhere. I did work hard in the main garden at the weekend, that's looking good. But this bit around the nursery is really scruffy. So I'm going to try and make that look a bit better this morning. Yeah, I'll get on with it. So I've been working for about 10 minutes and I'm literally too hot, so I've had to go in and change into something more appropriate and dig my shorts out of the winter wardrobe. And this is kind of more like it normally is in February. Excuse the white leg.
Aye, job I'm going to do today is to take a big juniper down. They're about 8 foot tall when we bought the house. They're more than double that now, and they're about that wide now. And it's encroaching on the gate. I've been taking the top out every year for Christmas trees, so I took a lot more out this year. So we've got to get rid of it. It's looking unsightly. So I'm just going to get on with that. We don't take things down unnecessarily, but this has got to go. There's no birds or anything nesting, so it's fine. So I'm just going to set up my tools, put you on tripod, and or I best pause you. Okay, so this is it. You see where I've been taking it out there. Yeah. So I got carried away. I was going to film me taking some of the big pieces down, but anyway, sun's in my eyes. Anyway, I've got the bulk of it down. Lots to process, but that's fine. Yeah, the fun will be getting to the space. We ain't got a clue what we're going to do with the space yet. That'll come with time. Eventually I'll be able to get bramble that's been rooted in down below it, get that out. Anyway, just going to put some more bits on trailer. I see Gaffer's inspecting the job. What do you think? Well, this was my play tree. Where you gone? That was Mr. Whitecap.
So I've been working really hard the last few days to make the garden all nice and tidy for opening. And then Paul decides to cut down this massive juniper. I mean, it did need to come down. But, I mean, I did the driveway as well the other day. Made this all tidy, swept it, cut back all the beds, weeded. So we're in the final week in February and I need to get my grafting done before the sap starts to rise. And we've got some good weather forecast at last. So I'm just showing you here a graft that I did last year, and it consists of two different parts of two different apple trees. One is the rootstock. These are dwarfing rootstocks which keep the trees really compact. And the top half here is called the scion, and that's the variety that you're grafting on, and in this case it's a Bramley apple. And you can see the join that I made between the two last year has healed really nicely, and I grafted a scion with 4 buds, and the top bud, it's going out of focus a bit, but you can see this is the growth it's put on in the first year. And these are now ready for sale, and they can be trained into whatever shape you want, whether it's a regular standard tree, a cordon, an espalier, etc. First thing I've got to do now is collect the rootstocks that I've grown for this year. We're going to go off and have a look at those now. So this is my rootstock production bed. I don't know if you can make it out there. It's quite badly eroded actually in the heavy rains we've had. Basically you plant dwarfing rootstocks quite deep and earth them up a bit like potatoes, and when the new stems grow they produce roots at the base, but the main root stock of the plant stays below the ground. And oops, what I'm going to try and show you here, if I can do it without, yep. If we dig down here, hopefully you can see roots are forming at the bottom of this stem. What I'm going to do is cut below this. It's a form of layering. It's a type of propagation called stalling. And we're going to cut this below there, so we've then got a stem with roots on the bottom. And it's a clone of the dwarfing rootstock that was originally planted, and I think these are MM106, which is a medium dwarfing rootstock. I'm covering these up because I'm not actually going to do that today, because what I have to do with these is when I've cut them I have to plant them in a different bed and grow them on for a year to develop a better root system and a slightly thicker stem for grafting. And we're going to go and look at those now, which I did last year. So here's some that I did last year, and I've grown them on for a whole year, and they're turning into small trees. If I dig them up, hopefully we've got a nice little root system on the base. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're looking for, nice root system. It's a little bit knobbly on the bottom of the stem here, but I'm going to dig all of these up, and then we're going to collect our scion material. So what I'm looking for when I collect the scion material is the young growth, no more than a year old, that was produced last year and has got some nice healthy buds on. But that's a little bit too thin and not vigorous enough. What I'm trying to do is take them from branches that we're going to prune off anyway, because we're about to do our winter pruning in here. So I'm looking at low branches that we would take off to crown lift the tree, because it's quite hard to get under here. But unfortunately, most of these low ones are too little and spindly. All the good ones are high up in the top of the tree. I don't know if you can see it, they're a bit too far to focus. But some of these branches have got to come out because they're crossing over, and we'll be pruning them out pretty soon anyway. So I'm going to get a pair of loppers or a pruning saw and get some of those, and then we can look at them close up. So I've potted up all the rootstocks. In fact, I didn't get that many decent ones. I think probably because we had a really super hot summer last year, and some of them just didn't root very well. So I've left them in the ground to grow on for another year. Now I've got to cut all the heads off. So this is one of the bits of Bramley apple that I cut. It's the tips of the branches. It's much better. I'm going to take a piece. Oh, I need to check that my knife is sharp actually. I don't know if it is. I'll just check. Just practicing. No, that's not sharp enough. So I've chosen that bud to be the one that will actually form the union with this rootstock, and I need to cut a diagonal slice right through the stem behind it with the bud sat in the middle. We'll see how it goes. Okay, that's not too bad. It could be slightly longer, but I mean that's fine. And then I'm going to choose this one. I need to offer that up to the rootstock and try and cut a slice through the stem which is the same size. And I've just chosen a nice flat piece of stem here. Okay. So they need to match up as well as possible. That's not too bad. And I now have to cut, this is called whip and tong grafting. I have to cut a little tong into the scion and a corresponding one in the rootstock. And then they should slide together. That's better. Okay. So then I'm going to cut this to 4 buds. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not very long, so I'm going to go 5. And then this is grafting tape. It's not sticky, but it covers the wound. Let's just cut a piece off. It's easier. Oh, hello, missus. No, 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 not that. Come out the way, no one can see. I feel like putting a bandage on me. Stop it. It wants to be quite tight to stop any water getting to the cut surfaces. I'll tie it off. I prefer to use tape than hot wax because, well, hot wax is quite dangerous in the fact that you can burn yourself, and when you've got little helpers that's not very good either, and it just goes everywhere except for where you want it. So I've now got to repeat this, I think 13 or 14 times. See how I get on with help. Okay, so they're all done now. I'm going to water them in, and then they're going into my stock tunnel, which is a cool tunnel. They don't want to get warm, they don't want to be in the polytunnel, they just want to sit there and heal. And in the process of healing, they will join the separate vessels from the scion on the rootstock, hopefully, and maybe in about 6 weeks' time I'll know whether they've worked or not. We should be able to see some growth, and we'll come back to that then.
I thought if I take this to the woodland, I can come back with a barrow of Robinia as I pass and put them stack
Oh
up.
yeah, okay.
That's the idea.
Okay.
Where to with this, boss?
Well,
a few years to season.
the thing is that so, oh okay, I can get to that pile because that's ready to split.
Ash and oak,
Yeah.
all under here.
But,
This is Douglas, so this is seasoning as well, a bit longer. Right, so let's have a look. Okay, so in here then. What do you say, Minway? Do you think over here to the left?
Anywhere I can climb on it.
Anywhere you can climb, okay. So, as I took the conifer, the juniper, to the woodland, coming out of the garden, I kept having to pass the pile of Robinia on the parking space. So instead of walking past it, I've been filling the barrow and stacking it here. Now the Robinia can stay here in season for a year, not a problem, but the juniper needs several years. So we'll leave it open. I'll put a lid on, but you need to have air getting round. You need to dry naturally and be in the element, not sheeted over like this, you know. But yeah, so sun's up, it's hot. Move on to my next job, which is to have a cup of tea, I think. So that's my next job, cup of tea, and see what Gaffer says I've got to do. Because Gaffer's going away today, going to the UK to see the kids and the parents. I've opted to stay here. Hello. So I'm under instructions of jobs to do. So I'm shattered, need a cup of tea. I'm going to ginger and lemon, I think. Okay. Well, we're at the airport. Someone's off to London.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't crank my arm around here.
Let's put these specs because I've been
Right. Oh la la.
I've got everything. Essential phone, white passport.
Mhm.
Okay. Raincoat. as
Raincoat.
essential for going.
Oh well. Can't really
Okay.
say too much, can we? Having had floods ourselves.
Anyway,
Love you.
love you.
Bye. See you on Monday.
See you on Monday.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Safe journey. Let me know when you're at Daniel's.
I will.
Bye.